to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by 6 o'clock. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening. The Ministry of Public Works responds to the complaints of the police boss, Martin Bargangere, on the bad state of roads from Yaoundé to Mutengene. The office of Minister Emmanuel Ngannou says most major road rehabilitation projects are ongoing across Cameroon, including the Douala-Mutengene stretch, and that will warrant huge sums of money for them to be properly done. We bring to you a detailed response of the Ministry of Public Works in this news edition. And the people of Douala or Denver continue to live in fear amongst numerous kidnappings and ransoms and also killings. Early today, the inhabitants of Denver woke up early today to the sight of a lifeless body of a young man in the area. What really happened? We take you to Denver in this news edition. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. The lifeless body of a commercial motorbike rider was discovered at the Denver neighborhood in Douala, the Douala 5 subdivision. That was earlier today. Inhabitants around the neighborhood and commercial motorbike riders who stopped by didn't identify the body, but they say some traces were seen on his neck. Police have opened investigation. Asman Jikan Gabriel tells us in the report which comes up next.
A difficult day for some inhabitants of Denver neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision who couldn't open their business places. Since morning, we have not been able to walk because when we turn and see the body, we are not comfortable. A lifeless body of a commercial motorbike rider was discovered in the early hours of Wednesday. As we were passing, we heard that they have killed someone and dumped inside water. It was just his slippers that we saw outside. The corpse that has been on the spot for several hours wasn't identified at the time that Equinoxe television arrived at the scene. He's not someone around here because if it was a bike rider who is well known here, his identification clothes will be similar to those who walk around the vicinity. Many bike riders stopped to look, but none identified him. The possibility that the commercial motorbike rider should have been killed and dumped at the spot wasn't ruled out by the onlookers. We saw some marks on his neck, which surely implied he was only attacked by someone. At the time Equinoxe television crew left the scene of the incident, the body was still on the spot.
And now we take you to the West region to this sad news element. 3 persons aged between 6 years old and 40 have died after consuming food which was prepared in their own home. The incident happened in Bamasam. It is a locality in the Bambutu division of the West region. Cedric Chakutio now tells us what really happened.
3 individuals, a mother and her children of about 40-year-old, 18 and 6-year-old, were found dead in their house at Bemasam, a neighborhood in Bacham, Bambuto's division, west region of the country. It is the mother of the house who cooked the food that her herself also ate. We wonder what really happened. She used the maize flour she cooked with yesterday. Some minutes after they had consumed the food, the children complained of stomach pains. It will be their shouts and complaints that will alert the neighborhood. Transported to the nearest hospital, they arrived late when they had died. The family, confused, do not understand what really happened. For now, investigations are ongoing as to discover the real cause of this incident.
Now we remember the complaint that was yesterday of police boss Martin Bargangele on the bad state of the roads on his way to Mutengene, and the office of the Ministry of Public Works has somehow responded to his complaint. The Yaoundé-Mutengene stretch of the National Road Number 3 is a microcosm of the reality of major highways across the Republic of Cameroon. Driving across the 299-kilometer stretch, users are faced with all the demons that characterize the use of broken road stretches elsewhere across Cameroon. This explains the outburst of Martin Bargangele, and that was during his visit to Mutengene. Equinoxe television retraces the minister delegate's difficult trip in a TV report that covers 165.4 kilometers of the 299.3 kilometer distance which he covered. For me, Armstrong Sander.
The outburst of Minister Delegate Martin Bargangele followed his experience on these segments of the National Road Number 3 linking Yaoundé in the central region to Mutengene in the southwest region. To retrace the perilous experience of the 92-year-old police bus, Equinoxe television took on a two-way journey across the stretch. One between Douala and Mutengene on the west entrance, and the other between the city of Douala and Puma on the east entryway, covering 165 kilometers out of the 299.3 kilometers distance witnessed by Martin Bargangele. Our journey on the east entrance began here at Carrefour Yassa in Douala, where works have been stagnating since 2014. A local inhabitant say that they do not understand what the construction company is up to at Carrefour Yassa for years. Drivers say they spent more than 2 hours 30 minutes driving between Yassa and Edea because of the very bad state of the road. They are obliged to visit the garage after every trip, as the bumpy and cracky state of the road quickens the mechanical depreciation of their vehicles. We noticed gravel had just been spread, filling potholes here at Mbongo Trant few minutes before our arrival at the village settlement. Villagers supposed it was done to facilitate movement for a top-ranking government official who drove past their village. Travelers waste no time to praise drivers for their steadfastness despite the odds on this stretch of the road. While potholes were being filled at Misole Day, local inhabitants say the approach is not durable, especially in a rainy season. Our journey ended at nightfall at Mapobi village in Puma in the Sanaga Maritime Division. Back to the west entrance, the journey from Douala to Mutengene began in Bonanjo, where Martin Bargangele was lodged. From Bonanjo across Bonaberi, Martin Bargangele encountered his nightmare at Carrefour Musiques. This undesired gymnastic at Carrefour Musiques is led by individuals traveling to Douala from the west, the northwest, and the southwest regions of Cameroon. It goes the same for people coming to Douala, Cameroon from Nigeria and the rest of West Africa through the Equinoxe border highway. Martin Bargangele says his trip to Mutengene was a nightmare. Drivers here say that they sometimes spend 4 hours to drive from Rai Bonaberi to Carrefour Musiques because of the unbearable traffic congestion. From Tiko to Mutengene, Martin Bargangele watched in disbelief the lackluster attitude of his co-members of government vis-à-vis the preoccupying developmental problems of Cameroon. Like here, major road stretches across Cameroon are full of cracks and potholes of varied sizes. Cameroonians were fast to question what the reaction of Martin Bargangele would be if he had a taste of the Yaoundé-Bafia, Bafoussam-Douala highways, among others.
Our journey to Mutengene ended here at this major roundabout, leading to Buya on one end and to Limbe on the other end of the junction town of Mutengene.
Now, in what seems like a response to the complaints of the police boss, the Minister of Public Works published information on rehabilitation works on several roads across the national territory. For the 2024 financial year, the budget of the Ministry of Public Works provides for an allocation of 65 billion francs CFA from both the road fund and the public investment budget. Our reporter Immaculate Fogwe focuses on some major road projects in the southwest region which are in the pipeline.
After the outing of the Delegate General for National Security lambasting the bad state of the Yaoundé-Douala-Mutengene stretch, the Ministry of Public Works gives a subtle but indirect reaction by outlining the fact that heavy rains and difficult access to finance are some key factors hindering the execution of several road projects. The minister reveals that the major road works have been awarded to companies who are waiting for the end of the rains to effectively start work. In the southwest region, specifically the Mutengene stretch, plans are on the way to start renovation works on the Kumba-Boya stretch to the tune of 650 million francs CFA. Another project consists of survey works on the Mutengene-Boya stretch. It is expected that this surveillance will pave the way for maintenance work on critical spots on the Mutengene, Bolifamba, Kumba, Boya stretches to the tune of over 160 million francs CFA. Drainage works are also envisaged on the Mutengene, Bolifamba, Muyuka stretch, as well as Lot 1 that runs from Mutengene to Equinoxe, estimated at over 21 million francs CFA. These projects, according to the ministry, are spending funding for the project to be transferred to the road fund. With regards to Lot 2, that's between Equinoxe to Muyuka, the cost is estimated at more than 75 million francs CFA and also waiting for funds. The ministry says these many projects are stagnating for many reasons, notably low financing capacity as well as irregular disbursement of startup funds and recoveries. In regards to the fast degradation of road stretches in the country, the ministry says most of the road stretches have been existing beyond their expiry period, with some existing for over 20 years. As a consequence, many road stretches in Cameroon are full of cracks, potholes of varied sizes, and drainage systems failing to respond to the current demand and natural pressure.
Now we talk something else. The Human Rights Defenders Network in Central Africa, REDAC, has expressed worries over the silence of the government against torture and impunity of Cameroonians. During a press briefing in Douala that was yesterday, they made say they are determined to fight against this maltreatment or injustice in the country. Let's now have more with Cedric Chakutu.
In the course of a press conference organized at the headquarters of the Network of Human Rights Defenders of Central Africa, REDAC, the platform of the rule of law in Cameroon lambasted the silence of the government against the torture and impunity perpetrated by some security forces and other services. This, according to them, was the case of Mr. Lonkana Agnos Simon, known as Longue Longue, who in a video was seen tortured.
Nous disons non. Plus jamais ça.
Dr. Maximilian Gombe says enough is enough to the torture perpetrated on individuals caught for one reason or another. She goes on by saying that the lawyers in charge of Longue Longue's case will bring the matter to the international level, knowing that Cameroon is a signatory of the African Charter and a member of the United Nations, and so has the obligations to respect all instruments freely signed or ratified. For the group set up by REDAC, torture is punishable by the law if evidence are given by the complainant.
The penal code is even very explicit, because through torture you can permanently lose a part of your body. For example, you can be psychologically traumatized. So the penal code is severe, and I think it went as far as giving even one of the highest severe punishment, which is life imprisonment. So have no fear that torture is neglected, is actually being punished. Now the problem is maybe how do you gather your evidence, because you may come out and say you have been tortured, but if you are not able to assemble your evidence, you may not have a good case before the court.
Cameroon has ratified the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. Cameroon has ratified the African Charter on human and people's rights. And all of these treaties, all of them, they put a burden on Cameroon, obliging Cameroon to respect and implement those treaties.
A part of Longue Longue, they cited other names of public personalities and journalists tortured, such as Samuel Wazizi in 2019, Mimi Milfu in 2018, Polycarp Etsomba in 2020, demanding that Cameroon agree to an independent fact-finding mission into all the allegations of torture cited.
Now let's talk economics. High taxes continue to kill many business ventures in Cameroon. Our reporter Babila Jonathan looks at why and how that is happening in our country and what should be done to remedy the situation to save small and medium-sized enterprises particularly. His report.
Many business endeavors in Cameroon are killed by the high tax burden imposed on them by the government. Small and medium-sized enterprises fall into bankruptcy a few months or years after creation.
Immediately a company rises up or is set up, the taxation department start following it. Now you see business opening today and closing tomorrow. It is because of that taxation policy.
It is not easy to get established, and at another hand, like we were talking, the tax charges.
Galaxy Sal, a construction material company, is an example of the many enterprises that have fallen out of business because of an unbearable tax burden.
Galaxy was functioning very well until the tax department came and imposed a certain high amount of tax on it that they could not pay. We fought it legally, fought it until at the end we discovered that to continue to fight the government, it was not possible. So we had to round up because paying the taxes and surviving was not possible. So we had to pay and close the establishment.
Some of the small and medium-sized enterprises are barely surviving or breaking even. In the landscaping sector, for example, landscaping expert Come Roland links the increasing cost of some inputs like chemicals used to protect plants from being damaged by insects to what is qualified as an unfavorable tax policy.
Some of these common products, which used to be at a low rate of 15,000, 10,000, 12,000 francs, believe me, today it has tripled, and that's because the tax equally have to be met.
Entrepreneurs suggest a tax policy revision to promote and enhance the establishment and growth of small and medium-sized enterprises and thus job creation.
So if we could adopt the policy of allowing the businesses to run for 4-5 years and install themselves and be sure of what they are doing, it would have been the best. Business initiative would have been improved in this country.
While that is yet to be done, small and medium-sized enterprises continue dying and the unemployment rate in the country increasing.
Babila Jonathan reporting there. And Babila, you don't go away. With you, we take news out of Cameroon. Dozens of opposition political parties have been dissolved in Guinea and others put under observation. Meanwhile, Morocco, France has promised to support the country's claim of sovereignty over Western Sahara, while in the US of A, the future of African asylum seekers and economic migrants is hanging on the presidential election balance. Let's now have more with you, Babila Jonathan.
Transition authorities in Guinea have dissolved dozens of political parties and placed two major ones under observation. The West African country has been led by a military regime since soldiers ousted President Alpha Condé in 2021. The West African regional bloc Equinoxe has pushed for a return to civilian rule, and elections are scheduled for December, but the transition government is yet to announce the date of the elections. The mass dissolution of 53 political parties and required observation of 54 others for 3 months is unprecedented in Guinea. The country held its first democratic election in 2010 after decades of authoritarian rule. The Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization announced the moves based on an evaluation of all political parties. According to the ministry, the evaluation was meant to clean up the political chessboard. French President Emmanuel Macron has renewed support for Moroccan sovereignty over Western Sahara. And Tuesday pledged French investment in the largely Moroccan-controlled but disputed territory. Deals with Morocco involving Western Sahara have been a problem for European governments, with the European Union's top court earlier this month upholding the cancellation of the trade deals, allowing Morocco to export Sahrawi products to the bloc. In an address to Moroccan Parliament on a 3-day state visit, Macron said French companies will support the development of Western Sahara, whose present and future belong under Moroccan sovereignty. For the growing number of African asylum seekers and economic migrants in the United States of America, the upcoming presidential election could reshape their entire future. Dr. Yves Kaduli, a 38-year-old asylum seeker from the Democratic Republic of Congo who lives in the United States, says, I quote, "We deserve safety."
Thank you, Babila. That report brings us to the end of the first part. The news talking point comes up next. You don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. Do you know that cancer also infects children? Yes, there are so many children suffering from cancer across the world and also in Cameroon, unfortunately. And our guest tonight is a pediatric oncologist, Dr. Kifem Vincentia. You are a pediatric oncologist at the Baptist Hospital in Mutengene in the Southwest region. Thank you so much, Doc, for accepting to talk to us on Talking Point tonight.
Hi, Anabila. Good evening, and thank you for having me on Talking Point tonight. Good evening to our televiewers.
Now, Doc, we are in the month of breast awareness, breast cancer awareness, but we also have various cancer pathologies that affect the population. Today, we are looking at childhood cancer. What are the different causes and types of childhood or pediatric cancer?
So when we talk about cancer, it is abnormal division of cells in the body, and this abnormal process can happen at any site of the body, resulting in the cancer that we see on the various sites. So when we talk about childhood cancer, it is cancer that occurs in children 0 to 19 years of age. The cause of cancer in children is not actually known. So when we are talking about childhood cancer, it's about early identification and treatment, because we don't actually know what causes cancer in children. The commonest types of cancer that we see in children, we have lymphomas, with the commonest being Burkitt lymphoma, and then we have leukemias, which are cancer of the blood. Then we have cancer of the kidney called Wilms tumor, and retinoblastoma, which is cancer of the eye.
Okay, Dr. Vincentia, we know that how cancer can be very painful, and imagining children being infected. Now, how does this condition we are talking about, pediatric or childhood cancer, how does that manifest in children?
So the clinical manifestation of cancer in children, it varies, and it depends on the type of cancer and the location of the disease. But the commonest manifestation that we have, the commonest one is a lump or swelling, which can happen on any site of the body. You can have a lump in the eye, on the jaw, on the neck, in the abdomen, or on the leg or arms. Then we have recurrent anemia, recurrent fever, not responding to the routine medications. Also, we have cancer of the eye in children, which we call retinoblastoma, that can present as a white spot in the eye. It looks like cat eye, especially like when you see a cat in the night, the way the eye shines. So that's how the child's eye is going to appear. So that's a sign of cancer in the eye. Then it can present as pain on the limb, localized pain on one side of the leg, or swelling. So that can also be a sign of cancer. And then manifestation of cancers at the level of the brain can have weakness on one side of the body. You can have regression in the developmental milestones of a child. That's a baby that was developing normally and suddenly is no longer developing normally. So we have seizures that can also occur in children, which can be a sign of cancer of the brain, and morning headaches and vomiting. Those are also some of the manifestations of cancer of the central nervous system.
Unfortunately, but that is a reality, Doc. Now we know how difficult it is to take care of cancer patients, adults like children. Now, can you tell us what are some of those challenges faced by parents or guardians of children infected by cancer?
Parents of children with cancer go through a lot of challenges. First of all, it's not very easy to accept the fact that you have a baby with cancer, and also the treatment that has to last for a longer period, taking months and even up to years. So they face a lot of financial challenges because cancer treatment is very costly. It requires a lot of money and becomes very difficult for the average families. It also requires a lot of sacrifice in terms of time because they have to be in the hospital, in and out of the hospital for a very long time, and that requires a lot of time sacrifice, meaning that they have to miss from their job site. They have other children at home to take care of, and so on. There are some families that marriage is going to break because they have this child that they need to be taken care of. So those are some of the challenges that they face, and because of the high cost of treatment, some of them start treatment and abandon on the way because they are not able to continue because they have exhausted all the family resources and they cannot go further with the treatment.
Thank you, Dr. Kifem. Now you are a pediatric oncologist, and we know on a daily basis you receive cases of children suffering from cancer. Tell us some of the problems or challenges you face on a daily basis when those cases get to your hospital.
So the main challenge that we have in taking care of children with cancer is a problem of late presentation, because most of the cancers in children are highly curable if they are diagnosed early. But the major challenge we have is that most of these children present to us late, and when the disease already advanced, it becomes more difficult to treat. It requires a prolonged period of treatment and more intensive treatment, and that makes the survival to be lower than if they presented early. And also because of financial constraints, these children take treatment and they abandon it on the way. So those are some of the challenges that we face.
Okay, now Doc, we might want to know, we know October is dedicated to sensitize or educate people, and also solidarity with those who are sick of cancer. That is why most at Equinoxe we put on the pink ribbon in solidarity and also to educate people out there on cancer, especially breast cancer, all through the month of October. Now, why is the month of September instead observed as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Cameroon?
So the month of September is International Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and we have the gold ribbon, which is the international symbol for childhood cancer. And this color gold was chosen because it represents how precious children are to us, and also the resilience of these children and their family that are battling cancer. And we consider them as the heroes, because fighting cancer is like fighting a battle and you need to win. Either you win or lose. These children and their families go through a lot when they are undergoing this treatment, so it's a symbol to honor them. So during this month of September, we create awareness about childhood cancer by educating the public on the various signs and symptoms of cancer. We educate the healthcare workers on how to identify these children with cancer and where to refer them for appropriate care, with the aim to identify the cases early so that they can be treated, and most of these children will be saved from this disease.
Commendable job you're doing out there to save and treat children who are infected by cancer, Doc. Now, it might be a sigh of relief for some parents to hear that their child can regain his or her health after being infected by cancer in our country, what are the treatment options available in Cameroon?
Cancer is curable, and more especially cancer in children. More than 90% of cancers in children are curable. And in the high-income countries, we have the survival rates from childhood cancer of more than 80% compared to just 20 to 30% that we have in low and middle-income countries. So the main problem we have is that of late presentation. If we are able to see these children early, they'll be treated and they'll be cured from this cancer. With regards to the treatment of cancer in children, it's going to depend on the type of cancer and the location of the disease. So we have various treatment modalities. We have what we call chemotherapy, which is the administration of drugs which can be given intravenously, it can be given orally or intrathecal. Then we have surgery, and we have radiotherapy. So we can use this treatment as a single or in combination depending on the type of cancer. So there are some cancers that you require chemotherapy alone, others will require chemotherapy and surgery, others will require chemotherapy, surgery and radiotherapy. So it depends on the type of cancer, the location and the stage of the cancer.
Thank you so much, Doc, for those explanations. Sure, they have educated somebody out there. And just to let our viewers again know that you are a pediatric oncologist at the Baptist Hospital in Mutengene in the Southwest region. Thank you again, Dr. Kifem Vincentia, for accepting to talk to us on Equinoxe Television tonight on pediatric or childhood cancer. Viewers, thank you so much for always being with us. Don't go away. Our programs continue. Equinoxe Soir comes up in about 30 minutes with Saya Langatu. And the news in the French language comes up. That should be at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth Bisay. Thank you again for being with us and see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye for now.